Did I just create something? First of all, yes, I was bored. I was so bored, in fact, that one night I came up with an idea. Because there are so many videos on this platform for building PCs, I wanted to know how these PC builders think. I wanted to know how much money to spend on each part given a specific budget. I also wanted to know if there was a trend among how much they can spend on each part. And finally, I wanted to see how much performance to expect for each budget. Yes, I was this bored. So I watched 34 PC build guides across different price points to give you all some answers. Some of the results might be obvious, some of them are actually pretty interesting. So I have now created a spreadsheet with all of the results that I found that shows the results and trends of building PCs with different budgets. Now, I have to give you all some disclaimers before I show you guys the results. 1. This is not a perfect list. 2. The sample size is only 34 videos. YouTube is very big and there is no way that I could have sat down and watched every single build video for every single budget. I would probably die before I can even post the results. 3. The prices on these PC builds guides can obviously vary, so I have set a target price and an actual price in this list to give people a good idea of what the prices are and what they should be. 4. I only analyze PC build videos dating as far back as May 2023, which is roughly 1 year from this video, which is April of 2024. The reason I did this is because prices do vary a lot, and in 2022 and early 2023, prices were sporadic in multiple components, and there's only 3 videos in this list that are from May to August in 2023. Roughly 80% of the videos analyzed here, though, are from the last 4 months here in 2024. 5. Most of the prices in these videos are from the day of the video's release. Like I said earlier, prices can always vary, so I had to make sure that the videos I analyzed mention the price at the time of purchase, not through the affiliate links most of these creators have in their video description, because those prices change all the time with a couple exceptions. 6. This list can grow, and although I think I have more videos that can give you all a better understanding, what I have so far I think is good enough to help solidify most of the results. But this list will grow, and definitely stay subscribed because I intend to add more videos to this list to continue to see the trends in PC building among the content creators in YouTube. And finally, 7. I am sorry if I haven't included a video that includes one of your favorite or most popular tech tuber. I know there are so many, but I did not search for specific content creators. I was looking at builds by price, which actually leads me to my next topic, which is how did I choose the videos? Well, like I said, it wasn't by any popular YouTubers. It was actually by price. So what I did is I went on YouTube and I searched for $500 build PCs, $1,000 build PCs, $1,500, and so on. Whatever top results came in, and if they fit my criteria, then I added it to the list. Of course, some PC builds had different price targets like $600 and $750, and I did add some of them, but not all of them. So, what was my criteria? The criteria for adding a video to the list was if they listed the price on their video at the time of purchase. That way I can analyze the video with the firm prices they chose at the time of them filming the videos. A few videos did not list a price, but if I just happened to add the totals from their affiliate links, and in most cases they actually did up to the target price, then I was able to add them to the list. I excluded a lot of videos that included Micro Center prices, because for Micro Center, they offer build bundles with discounts on CPU, motherboard, and RAM, and it's hard to split them up to find out how much they actually cost individually. So I purposefully left them out. All the builds have prices for their specific components, which leads me to my next topic. What parts are included in these prices? There are 8 components that total up the prices of the PC builds. We have the CPU, the motherboard, the CPU cooler, the RAM, the GPU, the storage, and the power supply. Oh, and I've also forgot the case. I purposely excluded parts like case fans, extension sleeves, peripherals, monitors, or any other part that isn't a core part of a PC. Now, sure, you can argue that you don't need a PC case, but guys, come on. You really do need a PC case. So what YouTube videos did I include? Now, I will have this list available for all of you to see in the description below, but here is the breakdown of the 34 videos that I reviewed and I analyzed. 5 of them are from Scattervault. 4 of them are from Zach's Tech Turf. 4 of them are from Crater. 4 are from Geekawatt. I have 3 from Pulse Hardware. I have 3 from Toasty Bros. I have 2 from Optimum Tech. I have 2 from Linus Tech Tips. I have 2 from TechSource. I have 1 from Elijah's Lab. I have 1 from Greg Zalazar. I have another one from OzTalks Hardware, 1 from Rootech, and finally I have 1 from PC Centric, totaling 34 videos. All right, guys, and this is my data set. This is the list of videos and everything that I have broken down for each video, and I kind of just want to run this for you guys really quick before I go off and show you guys the results. So to break this down by column, here the column A, the first one, I have just the name of the YouTube video. Here I have the YouTube channel and the link directly for that specific video. In this column, I have the date of the video's release, and here I have the date that I actually viewed and analyzed the video. Here the form factor is basically the form factor of the PC that is included in the guide in that video. And here I have the breakdown of the PC by part. I have it by CPU, motherboard, cooler, RAM, GPU, storage, power supply, and case. And if I keep scrolling down over here, I have the total price and the target price. And what this basically means is the video will probably say this is a $500 build PC, which would be the target price. And then this is the actual total price paid of the PC with all the parts here listed, not including extra things like RGB elements or extra case fans, etc. I kind of did this because I wanted to see what the actual disparity is between the actual amount paid versus what the target price of it is going to be. As you can see, for the most part, everything is kind of spot on. Maybe it might be over by a few bucks or under by a few, but for the most part, it is pretty spot on. Here in this column is a target resolution. So basically what the target resolution for the gaming performance is. I broke it down by 1080p, 1440, and 4K. Some of them didn't actually list the performance target, but for the most part they did, and I listed it here. The second to last column here is the new or used parts. Basically, if the video used new, used, or parts, or both. And then here on the notes, I kind of just left a couple little notes on some videos for some specific things. So for example, even though this had new and used parts, the only used part in this one was the CPU. For this one, the performance target used DLSS, and so on. So this is the overall data set that I have for the 34 videos that I happen to jot down and analyze. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of spreadsheets down here, but we will get to that as the video progresses. But I wanted to show you guys this. Again, if you guys want to see this, I can hopefully kind of make this a little bit neater, and I can share it with you guys. I'm just trying to find the best way to do so. Now, let's talk about some pretty interesting results from these videos that I analyzed. So like I mentioned earlier, I tested 34 videos. And here are some pretty cool facts that I managed to find. Quite a few build guides ranging from the $400 to the $1,000 price point included new and used parts. Out of the 18 build guides in this range, 8 of them, or 44%, included at least one used component. The rest of the build guides over $1,000 use only new parts. Every build guide that was under $750 was aiming for 1080p performance. Now you can make a case that you can play at 1440p with a similar budget, but all of these guides that has a budget of under $750 was shown for the target of 1080p performance. It wasn't until you pass the $750 mark that 1440p became a performance target out of all those other used PCs. 13 out of the 34 build guides, or 38% of them, spent $0 on a CPU cooler. These build guides relied on a stock cooler in order to keep the budget down. Out of the 13, 11 of these build guides had a target price of $1,000 and under, showing that for budget builders, an aftermarket CPU should not be considered. There are 18 build guides that are $1,000 or less, and half of them are micro ATX builds. I thought this was interesting because I really thought that micro ATX was a dying form factor, but it still has relevance even today. Funny enough, only 2 out of the 34 build guides were using an ITX form factor. Maybe it was just my small collection of videos that is causing this harsh trend, but I did think it was interesting to point out. Now, let's talk about the main attraction, the trends of how these build videos are spent on each component of their build. Here are the overall results and how much you should spend on each PC component for your build based on the 34 videos that I analyzed. So, with all 34 videos analyzed, let's start with the CPU. Now, taking the price of the CPU and dividing it by the total price of the PC build, I got an average of 17.7%. That means that for the PC build videos analyzed, the CPU costs 17.7% of the total PC build. Now that might sound normal to some people, and others it might not, but I should also add that the highest CPU cost of one of the builds was actually 25% and the lowest was 12%. Meaning one of these builders or one of these videos used 25% of their budget just on the CPU, and one used only 12% of their budget. Now, I can break this down for every single component, but I don't want to spend too much time on it, so I just broke down every component's average price spend like I did on the CPU, and here are the overall numbers. So on average, 4.13% of the budget was spent on the CPU cooler. For the motherboard, the budget on average spent was 12.82%. 6.64% of the budget was spent on the RAM. A whopping 39.19% of the overall budget was spent on the GPU. For storage, about 6.72% was total budget spend on that component. 7.38% was spent on the power supply out of the total budget. And finally, 8.8% or 8.08%, was spent on the PC case. So, if you add up the total averages, you get a total of 102.66% of your total build. But to make it look neater and show a bit more consistency, I rounded each one down to make the total 99%. Now that I've shown you the numbers, let's talk about some of the trends that we see. The highest percentage allocated to these build guides budget was the graphics card, which is pretty obvious. Roughly 40% of the budget is allocated to the GPU, which for gaming would be one of the more important parts to consider of your gaming PC. The CPU was next, which accounts for 17% of your total budget, which also would make sense because the CPU and the GPU go hand in hand and is a big catalyst of whether you are limited in your performance. Now for the lowest spent on your budget comes the CPU cooler at only 4%. I did think this was a little bit interesting to see because knowing how all-in-one liquid coolers have been so popular over the years, the fact that most of the videos analyzed didn't even use one and focus on their budget on other components was actually kind of interesting to see. We clearly are wasting a lot of money on this one component for sure. What I did notice, which was weird though, was that 7% of the budget was allocated for the power supply and 8% was allocated towards the PC case. Now, of course, PC cases are subjective, But to see this average trend show that more money is spent on one of the more subjective components over one of the more vital components was a little bit of a shock. Sure, the numbers are close and this is just an average, but I would think more money will be spent on something you need rather than something you want, especially when it comes to getting performance out of a gaming PC. Now, let's use all this data that I've accumulated and let's try something here. Because I have an average of what each component cost for a PC build, let's use this as a rule to see how well it can work. I'm calling this the 17, 4, 12, 6, 39, 6, 7, 8 rule. Let's, for this case scenario, let's just call this Kobe's rule. A, because I discovered it, and B, in my own egotistical way, it kind of sounds kind of cool, you know? Kobe's rule. I like that, right? Okay, fine, whatever. So let's just say that you have a budget of $1,000 to build a PC. Using this Kobe's rule, which I would consider a theory more than a rule, I can spend this much per part. I would spend $170 on a CPU. I would spend $40 on a CPU cooler, $120 on a motherboard, $60 on RAM, $390 on a GPU, $60 for an SSD, $70 on a power supply, and $80 on a case. So using that theory or that rule, I'm giving myself a total budget of $990 with $10 of wiggle room at least, because I said I was going to spend $1,000 on it. So going back on the videos that I analyzed, a few of them actually do a good job matching this rule, with the most accurate being a Toasty Bros and a Zach's Tech Turf video. Now, sure, the prices weren't exactly on this rule, but the trend was pretty spot on when it comes to breaking down each component and their price points. A $500 example using this rule is more accurately portrayed by this video from Elijah's lab, which used these prices for the components to build a pretty nice gaming PC in my opinion. I mean, $500 on itself is very difficult nowadays to build a really nice PC, so I think they really did a good job. Now, of course, this rule can't always apply. The lower your budget is, the more you have to sacrifice on certain components, like a CPU cooler and a case. The higher your budget, the more you can ignore this rule, because most of the time you're adding aesthetics to your build. Like, for example, you're trying to build an all-white PC and all-white components can be costly. Or for example, you're building an ITX build, which ITX motherboards in even some cases can usually be pricier on average. But because this rule is based on averages, the more you look for a build within the $1,000 to $1,200 range, the more this rule would apply, because it provides a good balance of price and performance. Okay, that was a lot of information, probably the most information I have given in any video that I've done. But I hope I was able to present it as clearly as I can. Now, of course, this is just my first run at creating and analyzing all of this data. And there is much more data that I can add to it to find more trends and statistics. But at least for this video, I'm going to stop here because I have been looking at these Excel sheets for a very long time and I feel like I need a break, and I want to show you guys what I have so far. So like I mentioned in the beginning, this is not a perfect list, and this data isn't the most accurate given the small sample size of only 34 videos. But you could clearly see that there's something here, and I intend to keep building on this to see what else I can find and more accurately and respectfully assist in helping you all make sure that you get most out of your money when it comes to building PCs, at least from the viewpoint of the tech tubers that we all know, love, and trust. Now, if you guys want to see the full list of what I have so far, if it gets much attention and support, I can definitely share my data with you all, assuming that I can clean it up and present it much more nicely than what I have so far. But I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure you like, you subscribe, leave a comment in regards of what other data you guys want to see when it comes to what I've been doing so far, and we will see you all in the next one.